I'm so gutted. I spoke to myself and Owen were talking about the fact that Arsenal, are not in the Champions League final. But like, how would you assess the season for the Arsenal women? So like the way it's gone.
Yeah, do you know what? It's a real shame. I did the game against Brighton in midweek as well. And it's a real shame that they weren't able to drag out the title race that bit longer. And I think I saw a couple of comments on, that's sort of a reflection on where they are as a team. I think it's definitely we're coming to a transitional stage, or we've already arrived at this transitional stage with Arsenal. I think ultimately they're going to regret that. Yeah, I think it was a 4 game winless run towards the start of the season. They
Yeah.
typically they start the season quite well, and this time around, for whatever reason, they just weren't able to get
But
those
Max,
results
Uma, my
together.
producer, actually brought to my attention. Arsenal have only lost one game this year in the
Which and
WSL.
and
Like,
and that's the crazy thing, right? So it's all of those draws which have just caught up with them, and I think when when Plan A hasn't worked for them, they have at times. I mean, they've found a way through in recent weeks, but at times they've been a bit slower getting to Plan B. And I think what we're likely to see in the summer is probably quite a few high-profile names going, but then also some different profiles of players coming in. And I think those different profiles will maybe lend themselves more to multiple different ways of setting up. We saw what Rene was capable of doing in the Champions League last season, where she could be a bit more flexible, she could be a bit more reactive within games. But I think now, with so many games in a season in women's football, that's ramped up massively in the time that the two of us have been covering it. I think there is a need for the deeper squads, and we've seen with Chelsea this season. It's not just been a tactical thing for them; it's been a personnel issue where they've had so many players out, whereas usually they'd be able to count on, having a bench of real quality, and that's led to them dropping off. So I think, yeah, if I was to reflect on Arsenal as a whole this season, I still think they deserve an immense amount of credit because, like you say, one defeat all season in the league. It was just a case of in those games where it was a bit tight, they were turning to your likes of, Mariona Caldente and Alessia Russo, perhaps a bit too much, and it just needed some invention, some craft from somewhere else on the pitch, which I think those solutions are probably likely to arrive in the summer. And I think, having seen all of the headlines, I
ooh.
don't think there's going to be any major surprises as to who those players are.